So you have to wonder, are we being pump faked, faked out, with so many of these pre-orders going on waitlist months before they're due to come out? Is it just not the real reality? Like this coffee, it looks real, smells real, tastes so good and real. Let's just go ahead and dive into all this right now. All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show, right here at Aries Cantina, home of 6-scale Cantina. Please go ahead and smash that like button. I so do very much appreciate your support. And hey, while you're at it, please also go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you so much for your support. So, are we being pump faked? Is this all just a mechanism designed to create FOMO? But it's not based on reality. Everything's going to continue the way it was the last couple of years. I'm going to give you my take on this as we go through the show, on exactly what the Dark Jedi thinks of this. Let me first actually give you and tell you some stories about some real realities. I was out to dinner with my wife the other night. And while we were out for dinner, before we got into the restaurant, she said, "Hey, there's Aldi. Let me go ahead and stop in Aldi's." So she stopped in. She came out. She said, "Hey, I just bought a dozen eggs. And guess what the price was?" I said, "What?" $4.66 a dozen. No pump fake. No fake out. An absolute truism. Digest that for a minute. $4.66 a dozen. Have you put gasoline in your vehicle lately? What's the price per gallon on that? Have you gone into Walmart lately? Target, Aldi? Any of your local supercenters? Have you tried to purchase tires? Everything seems to be like skyrocketing. And more, it's seeming like the economy, this global economy, is so volatile. It's in such a recession-like state. And for me, you know how I used to talk about, not only on my channel, but so many other shows. They're like, Aries, will you ever get a Marvel hot toy? Or a DC hot toy? Or, what are the Jack Sparrows or something of that nature that's off Star Wars? And I was actually considering doing that for the longest time. But now that we're in this economy, and yours truly is feeling the effects of this economy, I'm not thinking about that at all. Because quite frankly, I can't even get all the Star Wars Hot Toys with head sculpts. You know I don't collect any of the ones without the head sculpts, the troopers without the head sculpts. But I don't even got Boba Fett and the throne yet. And in large part because eggs are $4.66 a dozen. No pump fake. Reality. Thank God I was able to get Echo. But I don't got Hunter yet. Why? Because eggs are $4.66 a dozen. And you have to wonder, is it possible that other people besides the Dark Jedi are also experiencing these financial restraints with their expendable income? And I say, yes. Looking for a deal. Looking for something below the price of what the retail price point is. Because there's not enough money. There's not enough expendable income to purchase at that price. And this goes far beyond 6 scale figures. It goes into any kind of collectibles you could think of. Any type of hobby or things that the general public participates in that takes expendable income. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. That was Sir Isaac Newton, or the Hot Toys wizard disguised as Sir Isaac Newton. Semantics. Anyway, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When you take expendable income to buy these figures, for instance, or other types of collectibles, or other types of things that we do that require expendable income, but necessities like eggs are going up to $4.66 a dozen, or gas is at the price it is. The equal and opposite reaction is to take that expendable income and put it on the necessities, on the essentials. And is it possible that in a large way, that is exactly what you're seeing within the collectible community and for this global economy as a whole? And I say, yes. No pump fake there. I'm giving you reality. I'm giving you reality. Here's a transport trooper. Let's look at this. $185 with 25 bids. Outstanding seller. A seller that I buy from. Hawk Wars Toys. Ray at Hawk Wars Toys. 100% positive feedback, now at 1,411. All 100% positive. And I buy quite a bit from Ray at Hawk Wars Toys. I highly recommend him. Not only for figures like this that are in stock at places like Sideshow and so on and so forth, but I got my A New Hope Leia from Ray. I got my Han and New Hope Stormtrooper from Ray. He gets a lot of collections, buys collections. If you're looking for a Grail piece reach out to Ray, tell him Aries sent you. Fantastic seller. Double boxes, you get a comic book, you get a couple of stickers, reliability, tons of pictures. Anyway, $185. There's demand for it. There's just not enough money for what it is at the retail price. Let's go to more. Here's another one. And this is Ray again from Hawk Wars Toys. And this is Boba Fett from the 2-pack without the robes figure with Tamora Morrison, Boba Fett, and the head sculpt. And you can see right here, $171.71 with a bunch of bids, not including the $25.29 in shipping. Again, people are looking for this figure, but not at the price that is listed for retail. Absolutely amazing. Let's go to more data. Here's an example of the Clone Wars Anakin. $195. That's it. Bunch of bids. Another outstanding seller. 133 feedback. All 100% positive. Not including the $16.75 in shipping. Here's another one. Jango Fett. Another outstanding seller. At 23,193 feedback. Over 20 bids, close to 30 bids. $230 for Jango. New. 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 That's the reality. Speaking about Boba and the throne. $295. People want it. I sure as heck want it. Another great seller. Close to 900 feedback. All 100% positive. $295. Not including the 40 in shipping. These figures are selling. The biggest competition the major comic shops have, retailers have, places like Sideshow has, secondary market. Because people just simply do not have the money right now to pay the retail prices on a lot of these figures. Especially where, at least where I'm at, it's $4.66 for a dozen eggs. Try to buy coffee right now. Ridiculous. Everything is so high. So I got to take some of that expendable income and I got to put it in essentials. Maybe when that's all taken care of, I have a certain amount left to be able to get some collectibles or other things that I do that fall into the expendable income category. But it's not as much as it used to be. So you have to wonder, is it possible that companies such as Sideshow are just going to continue to do exactly what they were going to do when the economy was good? When figures were just going into the bargain bin when we can just wait and sip our coffee and sip our wine and eat our cheese and wait for these to just be bargain binned out? They're going to continue that way? While eggs maybe go up to $5.66 a dozen? And I say, no. Pump fake? If something was going to be pump faked, Lando would have been pump faked. Tusken Raider would have been pump faked. The 2-pack Boba Fett would have been pump faked. That Neon Tech Iron Man, whatever it was, would have been pump faked. That's what you pump fake to try and get demand. Why isn't that happening? Because I don't believe there's any pump faking going on. So getting right to it. Now that I've shared with you some data and shared with you some realities, let's get into this analysis. Does the Dark Jedi actually think we're being pump faked? And I say, hell no. Of course not. First of all, I not only buy from Ray at Hawkwar's Toys, I buy from Sideshow. Sideshow is an outstanding company. Outstanding. 1,000%. And they absolutely have no time to be playing little games with stuff like this. That's my view. In the grand scheme of things, is anything possible? And I'm not talking about Dark Jedi possible because I use data for my possibilities. But just say anything's possible. Sure, the moon can turn red tomorrow. Sharks can come out of the ocean and start walking tomorrow. I guess it's possible. Sure, anything's possible. Not Dark Jedi possible. Data-wise possible? Business-wise possible? I say no. Now, does that mean that some of these figures could actually get in stock? Sure, but not from a pump fake. Does that mean that some of these pre-orders that have gone on waitlist can suddenly become available? Sure. But if not from a pump fake, then why? Well, first let me give you the obvious. Number one, it's not just Star Wars Hot Toys, it's Marvel Hot Toys. It's not just Star Wars and Marvel Hot Toys, it's DC Comics Hot Toys. It's not just DC Comics Hot Toys. You got Back to the Future, you got The Matrix, you got this, you got that, so on and so forth. That's a lot of merchandise that Sideshow is moving, for instance, for Hot Toys. But that's only one part of what they sell. They also sell their own stuff. They also sell a plethora, a myriad, a vast array of other collectibles, much like Entertainment Earth, as an example, does. And when you're dealing with that much data and that much stuff, it's very easy in your databases to say, hey, it was 2,400 that we pre-ordered. that we put our PO in for. Oh, wait a minute. It was actually 26. Does that happen in the industry? In all types of manufacturing and distribution industries? No matter how perfect your system is? Even if you're using something like SAP? I say yes, because it's humans that are putting these things in. That's number one. Number two. Trial and error. They're clearly, and so many companies are clearly, making adjustments in this economy, have made adjustments since COVID-19, quite frankly, whether it's working remotely, whether it's office space consolidation, networking, supply chain management, business models. And in most every one of those cases, there's going to be adjustments and learning pains throughout the way. For sure. And when you're moving towards a pre-order only mechanism, which quite clearly that's what this is, there's going to be times where something goes on waitlist and the demand was miscalculated. It can go in two ways. You can go on waitlist, and the waitlist can be open for months and months and months because the demand, quite frankly, stinks. Or the waitlist could be full instantaneously with other data coming in and messages to such company. And then you're starting to get in some statistics saying, hey, I could wind up selling about 300 more of these, 500 more of these, 1,000 more of these. And then you have to wonder, could you call a company that you're distributing for, such as Hot Toys, and say, hey, when these go on the production line in June 2023, November 2023, can you tack on 500 more during that time that you've already scheduled out? And 9 times out of 10, they'll be able to do something. Is that more of a legitimate reason why something would come off and come back on again because there was more? I say yes. Of course. It happens all the time. But should we mistake that as, oh, it's just the same old, it's just a pump fake. Just a pump fake. It's going to be getting in. We're going to be back in the bargain bin of 2 and 3 years. Really? Well, if that's the case, my friends, I don't even have to worry about any of these figures. Any of these figures. Ever again? Because you're only going to throw the same fake on me so many times until I catch wind that it's like the boy who cried wolf. Eventually, I'm not going to answer the call. Eventually, I'm not going to execute the imposed call to action. I'm not going to bite. Pause for coffee. And in no reality is that smart business. None. None. A figure goes up and it goes on pre-order. It has initial buzz. Let's use the DX18 for instance. And that figure was up at number 1 for just about 8 weeks. A large percentage of who was going to buy that pre-ordered that. Not only because they just pre-ordered, because of the excitement of Darth Vader. And Hayden Christensen Darth Vader. and a battle-damaged Hayden Christensen, Darth Vader. Then after 8 weeks, people keep hearing the hype, keep seeing all that, stays in the middle for how many more weeks and months, it continues to sell. And you're taking that orange, you're taking that grapefruit, and you're squeezing. And you're squeezing the juice out of it. You're starting to exhaust the juice of what's left of who's going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. You're going to buy it. John's going to buy it. Jane's going to buy it. Harry's going to buy it. Harriet's going to buy it. So on and so forth. And you keep squeezing that juice. And yeah, you got some people that want to see final production photos, but that's going away a lot because Hot Toys just keeps coming out with good stuff. You pretty much know it's going to be pretty similar to the prototype, and in many cases what we're seeing in 2022, better than the prototype. And if you're a big fan of a certain IP, there's not a chance in the world, no matter what the prototype final production photos were, of the Luke 40th Snowspeeder pilot, there was not a chance I wasn't getting that anyway. I wasn't waiting for that anymore at all. Not a chance. Long gone are the days where head sculpts come out looking like the Luke Skywalker A New Hope. It's just not happening. I know it, you know it, we all know it. They don't come out that way anymore. They're going to be good. Real good. Which is why we spend the money we spend on them. The juice gets squeezed. And they're already having data. I've already been sharing with you data on once these are exhausted out. And once most everybody that has them, has them. And included in that data are people that are going to cancel their pre-orders because they just don't have the money. But they have the data. They know what it's going to be. Once it gets exhausted out, there's just not much more in this economy. Listen carefully. Not much more in this economy to sell thousands more to keep in stock. Which is exactly what you're seeing when you have the best card deluxe and non-deluxe still in stock. When you have the Tusken Raider and the Lando, for instance, still in stock. When you have those Marvel figures and some of those other figures still in stock. And some of them, quite frankly, weren't even selling before the economy was tanking. They have the data. So what you do, besides believe, get that low stock warning up. That's it. They've already projected what the figures are going to sell. And going on that data, put the low stock warning up. And then the last juice squeezing comes out. Then eventually it goes on waitlist. And that is the extent. Now, could they misjudge that juice a little bit? If the waitlist gets so full and there's so much request? Sure. What is it really going to be, though? How many people go on my live show? Others' live shows? You see the numbers. Okay? What is it? Anywhere from 100 to 200? Okay, you got someone like Justin that comes on. What is it, like 300? Okay. So, say 300. Misjudged 300 pieces? Let's add 700. Okay. Misjudged 1,000 pieces. Sure. Could you be seeing that? Yes. To put in more than that? Another thousand. How about another 1,000? How about another 1,000? How about another 1,000? Let's keep it in stock. For who? Who's buying it? Like I said, I can't even dream about picking up an Iron Man right now. I'm still trying to get Hunter, Boba in the Throne. Who's going to buy it? Cheers. Salute. Coffee. I ain't pump faking. That's the reality. I'm in. You can pump fake me all I want. All you want. I don't got it. And many of you don't got it. What's the point? The point is more announcements with less production and more 2.0s in different versions. And that is 1,000% what you're seeing. Do you see one here all of a sudden come back off a pre-order and come up? Was it because of a pump fake for that figure? I sure as frack hope not, because if they would have pump faked the Jet Troopers, that would have been a lot easier. They could have got rid of those a whole lot quicker. Why don't you go ahead and pump fake the Beskar Mandalorians, for goodness sake? Not realistic. Adjustments? Because of demand and incoming data? Yes. Errors? All day, every day. In so many companies. If you don't think so, then you're in a world where you think a bunch of deities work at all these corporations. It's not realistic. Now, will these get in stock? Everybody's wondering. Aries. It's going to be incredible once these waitlisted ones come out. Are they suddenly just going to be in stock? Some of them. But wait a minute, Aries, you're saying pre-order only model. Well, a lot of people are running out of money. So, do you think every single pre-order that people pre-ordered, and when the call comes to pay up, do you think they're all going to pay it up? Now, it's going to be a lot less in this economy. I'll tell you right now. What it was and how many people canceled is going to be a lot less. But is it still going to be up to a couple of hundred? Sure. Few hundred? Sure. What do you do with those few hundred? You put the darn thing in stock until you sell 3 dozen one day. Ooh, look, it's there. 2 dozen the next day. A dozen here. A dozen there. Then the next week, another 2 dozen. And then another 2 dozen. And then the third week, another few dozen, and then it's gone. But are they putting it in stock because they want to go ahead and give it to you and buy one, get one 50% off? Or because they're waiting to give it to you and give it to me at a bargain bin because we've been talking about that so long? Why? Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and buy all these extra hot toys and just wait when I can give it to Johnny and Juliet over there and Romeo and that other Juliet for 50% off and at the bargain bin because we are just so interested in losing money. Pump fake? No. Change in the mechanism? I say yes. How they're going to get in stock if they get in stock? Cancellations. Put them in stock, others get an opportunity. Overstock? No chance right now. No chance. And remember, even when the economy heals, even when we're done, and it goes on an uptick, and everybody gets back their expendable income, and maybe even at a more higher rate than in the years past, and Star Wars has a first movie out, a new trilogy, a sequel, a prequel, and all this stuff, and it's really hot, and Marvel's really hot. We got a new Endgame, a new Infinity War, and wow. They're going to go back to what they did? Or are they going to realize, no, you're still going to have some stock. It's still going to be in stock. Or do we come out with a 2.0? Just like that they figured out with that arena suit Boba Fett. That arena suit Boba Fett went out. And it was a clear indication you can now come out with Coliseum suit Boba Fett. Walmart suit Boba Fett. Yankee Stadium suit Boba Fett. Any Boba Fett at 3,000 copies, gone. Put 3,000 in stock. This is what you're dealing with when you put thousands in stock. And they're just going to continue down that road because they're being pump faked? You believe that if you want to. That's not my reality. But then again, my coffee is very, very 6-scale Cantina strong, baby. It's going to be real interesting to keep an eye on this year and go through a lot of this stuff. But I absolutely believe they have found a new way to go ahead and not only sustain themselves within this economy, but make more money than what they used to. Remember what I've been saying. That DX18 already has a low stock warning on the collector's edition. And I told you with the last market chart show, don't pay attention that the deluxe edition does not. Because the R2-D2 from the Wave 1 of the Attack of the Clones also did. And you could put 6 of that figure in there. And then once all those other ones were getting a low stock warning, and you could only put 2 or 3 in a cart, depending on what figure it was, the R2-D2 shortly after hit waitlist too. Now, it could have been because of the demand, and people were like, oh crap, and they put a bunch in and they bought it. And certainly, were there some people that were going ahead buying 6 at a time, buying 3 at a time because they know that these are going to be rare or they're going to wait to resell these? Sure, that's going to be a new game. That happens a lot with, for instance, you want to look at other Star Wars. Let's look at Black Series. San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, Target exclusives. You get all kinds of people that will go in there. They will buy up these figures. Oh, I wasn't able to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I wasn't able to go to New York Comic-Con. How do I get this figure? And all of a sudden it's up on eBay for twice, 3 times, 4 times, 8 million times the price. Is that going to start happening with this? If this is the mechanism it goes with? In some part, yes. But that's the name of the game with collectibles. Pause again. And I, for one, am really, really glad that this is happening because I was getting no value for any of the Hot Toys I was purchasing recently. I'm even wondering about the Bo-Katan I just got. What do you mean, Aries? I'm wondering about the Bo-Katan. I'm wondering about this Boba and the Throne I want to get. Because that's all part of that group of where they were just buying so many, it seemed like. And when you're spending a couple of hundred, a few hundred, hundreds of dollars on a collectible, and even though I have said before, never buy these to invest in, I've never said buy these to lose your arse in it. But for instance, you could take that Beskar Mandalorian, and you buy that right now at retail, you can't even get retail value for it. You just can't. I'm showing you all these figures I just put up on the screen. This is the problem when you have too much stock. This is the problem when you overproduce. And there's not even a big call to action because they're just readily available. And it just doesn't entice me to want to just buy a bunch of more of these. Oh, yeah, it's really exciting. It's really exciting. But Aries, you say don't buy it to invest in. Well, yeah, but I still enjoy them. I want to know what I have is at least worth something. I'm not looking for it to be like my 401k, but make no mistake. Don't do it for that. But there's somewhat of a joy knowing in your collection of toys that some of them are grails, that some of them have the potential to get more value. And there's certainly a comfort level when you think you have to buy it that you don't have to sell it for $50, $75 under retail. Then you got to pay shipping, then you got to pay taxes, and then you got to take your time. What fun is that? It's no fun. So do things have to change anyway for the future? I say yes. I'm glad that they are. I'm glad that they are. And how are these figures in the secondary market going? There hasn't been much of a change since the last show at all, from what was trending up and what's trending down. And I'll be pulling up 6scalecantina.com in a moment, and I'll show you the recent stuff from there on what's going on. But there hasn't been much of a change. However, there's certainly new trends in the vast ocean, big waves that are coming. Are more people starting to buy the rare Star Wars Hot Toys since the holidays are over? And I say, in a big way, yes. Your Obi-Wan Kenobis from Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, those two figures, didn't matter what the economy is, they're going higher. Han Solos, they're going higher. The Tarkins, stuff like that, we already pointed those out. The Leias, forget about it. Some of your other figures, like the Mud Troopers, the Chirrut Imwis, Jyn Erso, Imperial Disguise, Rey Dio, some of those, yeah, you'll be able to get them a little bit less during this bad economy, during this buyer's market. If a figure averages 400 or 375, you're seeing it on the lower end. 275 or 300. You could take the Rey and Dio, for instance. What is it, about 365? Sometimes you'll see it. You're seeing it sell for underneath the 100 less, more than the 100 more. Now you're starting to see it go for, like 300 something. Some cases right at above the value at 400. And you're seeing that, I'm seeing that over and over and over again over the last 9 days or so, ever since the end of the holidays, ever since Christmas is over. You're starting to see that. And I 100% was expecting that to happen and start climbing into, continuing on a little bit of an uptick all the way through the Bad Batch Season 2 and into the Mandalorian Season 3, even in this bad economy. And I can show some of the data, and this is 6scalecantina.com. If you don't have 6scalecantina.com bookmarked, you just may want to consider doing so. It has all the latest information on all the markets, primary, secondary market, everything Star Wars Hot Toys, a market value chart, all the trends, if they're going up, they're going down, the biggest movers section, everything going on at 6 Scale Cantina. Aries Cantina, 6scalecantina.com. Make sure you go ahead and you bookmark it. Going to the biggest movers section, not much difference from last week. As a matter of fact, it's exactly the same, except for the waters that I see moving a little bit. Yes, doesn't matter what economy is. Luke Stormtrooper, Han Stormtrooper, that Obi-Wan, stuff like that. Yes, absolutely. Other figures that aren't as tenured, other figures not as highly sought after at that moment, like the Arena Suit Boba Fett, went down some, around 400, absolutely. The Rey and Dio I was talking about, the Chirruts I was talking about, the Jyn Ersos I was talking about, the Darth Mauls I was talking about, those Vader 40ths, those Fett 40ths I'm talking about. Yes, 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 and yes. Mud Troopers, of course. But now I'm starting to see that shift a little bit, and more people are starting to buy those. And I can pull up some of the data for you here onto the screen. You could look at Array and Dio here, and you could see it selling within that average of around 360, 365, right here at $285, not including the $16.75, and well over $300, not including taxes. And then above that, as I can pull this up onto the screen as well, and you see this figure brand new with the shipping box and everything at $399, just back from the first week in January and January 3rd, and sold. And you can go ahead and take a look at other examples as well, such as this DX16. We were talking about Darth Maul as well. And I showed you how this was trending down. Is it now also starting to show signs of trending up? And I say, yes. Look at this. Just back from January 7th. $355. $355. $355. Not including the near 18 in shipping. Not including the taxes. Let's go to more. You can go ahead and take a look at this Chirrut Imwe deluxe figure here at $380. And not including the shipping on that as well. Or taxes. And so you're starting to see this. I'm starting to see this over and over again within the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys. And so you have to wonder, is it possible, though, that this is still a buyer's market and an opportunity, if you have the expendable income available, to pick up some Grails at a reasonable price? And I say, yes. It's a good time. When this economy breaks, as this continues to go on an upswing, as we get into The Mandalorian Season 3, is it going to be easier to get a Jyn Erso, Imperial Disguise, or regular? Is it going to be easier to get a Chirrut Deluxe or not? Is it going to be easier to get an Anakin from the Revenge of the Sith? Is it going to be easier to get an Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope? Is it going to be easier to get a Leia from A New Hope, or any of the Leias from the original trilogy? No, it's not going to be easier. It's going to be easier to get Han, Stormtrooper Disguise. Where do I think Han, Stormtrooper Disguise, for instance, is going to go once more expendable income comes in here as Star Wars gets more popular? It's to the moon, baby. Keep an eye on stuff like that. As far as when this will turn into a seller's market again, as long as eggs stay at $4.66 and trend up, not anytime soon. Popularity of Star Wars is going to continue. The upswing of Star Wars with Deborah Chow, Filoni, Favreau, it's going to continue. But if the economy stays the way it is, or continues to go down that road before it starts going up, it is going to stay a buyer's market. And in the primary market, it is just not going to be a whole lot of demand once figures are exhausted. Once said figure is bought out by everyone who's going to get it, not a whole lot of demand to pick up more. Like I was saying earlier in the show, in a good economy, as I continue to grow on Hot Toys, would I have bought an Iron Man? Would I have bought a different figure outside of Star Wars? Yes. Am I going to do it right now? No. How many are also like that? I would imagine quite a bit. Is it a time to keep stock for stuff like that? I'm not sure. New fans are going to come in. from The Mandalorian Season 3 and with the Ahsoka series? Sure, they're going to be discovering Hot Toys. Look at these head sculpts coming up. Is it going to be in the thousands to be able to warrant to put these in thousands? Are those fans immune to the current conditions of this global economy? I say no. If you like what you heard here today, you just may want to consider joining the channel and becoming a Cantina Insider. Click on that little join button. See everything that it comes with. If you think you could benefit from it, go ahead and join the channel. It's one tier. I charge one price. It's a low price. I do appreciate your support. You can get a big preview of it by going to sixscalecantina.com. And when you go to sixscalecantina.com, on any of the menu items, you're going to see this yellow box. And the yellow box shows you all the different banners and different types of shows that are in there. I also have live streams just for Cantina Insiders, just for channel members. It's absolutely awesome. You can see right here one of the very latest shows. Production numbers. Is it possible that the Dark Jedi got some insight from the Hot Toys wizard on production numbers for figures like Padme and Anakin? And I say yes. Matter of fact, latest one, just from last week, is production numbers 2 with Mace Windu on the cover. And if you want to join the channel, I absolutely highly recommend these. I do a deep dive into it. And very, very highly enjoyably fun to record. Again, I have crazy unboxings, crazy fracking unboxings. Just go here to sixscalecantina.com, give it a whirl, take a look at that, click the little join button. If you think you could benefit from it, I appreciate the support, baby. And look at that Ewan McGregor head sculpt. And this is how I'm going to plug 6 Scale Raw for tomorrow. I will be live for the first 6 Scale Raw for 2023. It's going to be January 9th. That's tomorrow. The first 6 Scale Raw, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Full panel in the house. You don't want to miss the debut live show of 6 Scale Raw tomorrow for sure. And we're going to talk about a lot what we talked about here today. We have so much to talk about. Look at what Hot Toys has done to not only close 2022, but open 2023. On the heels of that little video reel that they put out where they were showing some of the, things that they were going to come out with for 2023 for Hot Toys, and particularly Star Wars, they showed the logo of the 20th anniversary of the Clone Wars. They also showed the 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi logo. And already we've got that Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi the first week of January, right after the new year. And right on the heels of getting that Padme down there, and that Anakin from Attack of the Clones, and that Mace Windu, and that Super Battle Droid. What a way to end 2022. And what a way to begin 2023. And the possibilities are endless when you talk about the 20th anniversary of the Clone Wars. What characters would you like to see from the Clone Wars? What characters would you like to see from Return of the Jedi? My goodness, we're going to talk about this tomorrow on 6 Scale Raw, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, although with everything we're talking about here as well. We got so much fun stuff in store. Go ahead right now. Go ahead right now and reserve your table. Tables are going on waitlist fast. There's a low stock warning on table 66, the most dangerous table at 6 Scale Cantina, Aries Cantina. It's going to go on waitlist soon. you better go ahead and reserve your spot at table 66. How about table 44? The most coldest table at 6 Scale Cantina. How about table 2, where so many celebrities hang out? Not only Star Wars characters, but Thor. Another. Maybe we'll get another announcement before the Chinese New Year. You have to wonder. And we're also going to talk about this incredible, and I mean, shout out to Brother Cousins, because I wasn't able to make his show on Thursday, his first show, the best of the best, because I was out. But when they went ahead later that night, and Hot Toys officially announced this Clone Wars Obi-Wan, and I had the privilege to be able to jump on his show and talk about this a little bit. And I am just completely, I mean, this is, I think, one of the best head sculpts from Hot Toys that I have seen. And maybe it's just because I feel it is so much better than my Revenge of the Sith one. I've got the Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan, and I like it, but I didn't realize how outdated it was until I'm looking at this. And I'll be honest with you, I could see myself posing this figure just like this and taking this head sculpt and putting it right on my Revenge of the Sith version. Are you kidding me? But this is uncanny likeness to me, for me anyway, of Obi-Wan. I mean, this just looks so realistic. I am just so happy about this figure. And yes, I am 1,000% buying this figure, unless eggs are up to $12.66 by the time this comes out. But man, we'll talk about this tomorrow and a bunch of other stuff. We're just going to hang out and have fun. Make sure you join me there. Please go ahead and smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. You could follow me on Facebook. Social media is in the video description below. We've got almost 1,000 members on the Facebook group. We talk about everything in here that we talk about here at 6 Scale Cantina. All Star Wars Hot Toys. It's a fun place. It's a welcoming place. I highly recommend go to the video description, click on the link, join the Facebook group if you'd like. You could also follow me on Instagram. I got the link to that social media outlet within the video description also below. Remember, I don't always buy coffee out, but when I do, I buy it from 6 Scale Cantina. Stay thirsty, my friends.